Alright, this vid is a vid response to a question from Heaven's Armory on a comment I had made about wondering about the reliability of this Bushmaster after watching a subscriber of mine and a buddy, Jay DeLuisa, have problems with his. These hex head screws into the side of the receiver, 3 of them in total that concern me, that are visible on each side, are what I was speaking about. Being it's been heavily tested and tried by Bushmaster, but not by the civilian public yet. It's still an untried system. I mean, it's not my go-to gun yet, although I love it, and it had unbelievable accuracy at the range with my ACOG on it. It still isn't. I haven't beat it. I haven't ran it without cleaning it. I haven't put, a few thousand rounds through it. It hasn't had all the things it needs to have before it becomes that gun, like my Olympic has, or the LWRC is getting to. But the fact is those screws hold on these rails, and a lot of guys might not notice that in there, but you see it's 2 different pieces. The aluminum goes around those rails. Those rails are what the bolt rides on. Let's see if I can get a picture of this. I don't know if I can get the light. When she's sliding, let's see if I can get a better view. When the bolt's moving, it's sliding on those rails. Those are guide rails. So, if for some reason one of those were to work loose, especially right here at the back of the bolt, the rear on the ejection port side, you'll notice, it's kind of hard to point, but right across from the firing pin is where that rail starts, because it can't go any further. The ejection port's there, but the bolt is just barely touching it. So what would happen if that had worked loose, that screw, and the bolt needed to travel rearward? It obviously wouldn't be able to do so. It would be impeded, even if it was just a few thousandths of an inch. I mean, they left a little clearance there, trying to make it ultra reliable, but if that thing started to back out a little, or bend, God forbid, and get in the way of the travel of that bolt, even if it didn't stop it, it could slow it down and throw out the timing of the rifle. If the timing's out, the rifle's out. It's just that simple. It's not going to eject quick enough. You're going to get hung up casings like he's getting, stovepiping. They haven't diagnosed his problem yet. They're telling him that he shouldn't shoot 5.56 ammo through there. What a crock. The barrel says 5.56. It's made for 5.56. The military shoots 5.56. I mean, come on. And what if it lost back here and it started to pinch? So, I mean, there's reasons to worry about these things, but they're unfounded at this point. I haven't seen one go down for that. His hasn't been officially diagnosed. I really don't know what the problem is with his gun. I'm guessing that it could be related to that because it's in the timing of his rifle causing that. If his ejector is good and his bolt face is good and the chamber is clear and the brass is alright until it gets crushed on the return of the bolts, the timing's out. And they were saying it was in the gas system. It's probably not in the gas system. That's what got the most development on this gun. So, from what I understand, I'm not an expert or a know-all guy, but if one of these was out a touch, whether it be deformed, ill-manufactured, or had a problem, or something happened in one of his several thousand rounds he fired through that gun that deformed it or burred it slightly, or you never know. Some of these guns, the aluminum's really sensitive, that if you squeeze a clamp on it too hard, you can deform it. It doesn't look like that should affect it there, but you never know what kind of mount somebody has on there or what has happened to this cross section, if it could be crushed at all. I mean, they have a reinforcement bar here to keep that from happening for exactly that reason, and here. But at the same time, you never know. If it got pinched back here a little, it could be impeding the travel of that bolt just enough to make that difference. There's 100 different reasons. I just don't like the idea of screws on a gun holding on the rails that the bolt operates on. The AR didn't have that. I'm used to it not having it. My Benelli shotgun is, a little different. But this is just a little worrisome. So, for Heaven's Armory, that's what I'm talking about. I hope the iPhone quality of the vid was good enough that you could see it. But I have no reason to worry yet. I have had no problem with my gun. I've only had about 130 rounds through it, and like I said, the first 4 went through the same hole. This thing has been nothing but a joy and a pleasure to own to this point. I'm very excited by it. I would recommend getting one to anyone. Just know, like I did buying mine, it's an untried system, and you never know what could happen. Parts could dry up if there isn't enough demand, if the economy does tank, and nobody wants these things. I mean, parts could dry up shortly thereafter. It is a proprietary type firearm. It's not an AR. You can't just go to the store and buy something made by any one of 800 different guys. Bushmaster is it until Magpul starts releasing stuff. So, you guys got to bear in mind the things that could happen when you get it. All right, take it easy.